On today's show, Giannis Antetokounmpo finally sort of requests a trade for the Milwaukee Bucks. Should the Dallas Mavericks get in on it? I don't know, but it's going to shake the league up. We'll talk about that and more. And the Mavs game against the Timberwolves. Locked on Mavs.
This is Cooper Flagg, and you're listening to Locked On Mavs.
I think that's a good question.
Good morning, Isaac. All these changes, I still got my dog Dwight Powell.
Your daily Dallas Mavericks podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Still can't leave you.
Your team every day.
I'm going to get a city like that.
And welcome. You're locked on to the Dallas Mavericks, your team every day. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member covering the Mavs for over 10 years. Thanks for being in every day and making Locked On Mavs your first listen at the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network out there. Appreciate each and every one of you for listening to the show. Joining me, as always, the Postgame prodigy from the great Slightly Biased YouTube channel, which is even the Dallas Mavericks Slightly Biased.
Yeah.
Tell me.
What do we have? 13 turnovers in the first half?
They had 10, 11 in the first, 15 minutes.
I know. It was, they were pacing for a turnover a minute there for a while. 8 in the first quarter. It's what we say, and I hate saying it, but it's just the fact of the matter. This isn't a very enjoyable team to watch no matter what. They just aren't. They don't score a lot of points. They're obviously not very good. When Coop's not playing, it is a very rough watch. And obviously Coop can be rough because he's a rookie, but he's your 18-year-old rookie. So you tune in to watch him to see what he can do.
The vibes will get better from here. We'll talk about the Mavs game against the Timberwolves. Talk about PJ Washington. I think he had an interesting game considering his stretch. We'll talk about Naji Marshall, what he has to take the next step, what he has to do to take the next step. I want to talk about Brandon Williams. What is Brandon Williams? So we'll talk about all that a little bit. But let's start here because Giannis Antetokounmpo, according to Shams Charania, I guess requested a trade. He kind of put it like, hey, guys, I'm ready for a trade, which is not a trade request, not a trade demand, apparently, from the other reporting after this came out. But Giannis is now open to being traded, which I think has been not a secret for a year, 18 months, longer than that. It seems like this has we've just been waiting on this for so long. He's out now with his injury for a little while. But my first question to you is, should the Mavs get in on this? Anthony Davis's contract matches Giannis's. The Bucks don't have their pick next year, so they could talk themselves into, well, if we get Anthony Davis healthy, at least we can still stay a little bit competitive. We could get a pick from the Mavs, maybe 2 picks from the Mavs. Maybe we get them to give us Max Christie for something else. If the Mavs want to get in on this, all of a sudden you could start next year with Cooper Flagg, Kyrie Irving, Giannis, Lively back healthy, keep Gafford. You got to figure out how to figure out the second apron thing. But is that something you would entertain if you're the Mavs?
So what? Just AD and 2 picks for
AD, of course. AD, a couple firsts. You do that?
Of course, I'd entertain that. Yeah. Why would the Bucks?
What are they gonna get? Is my question, because
better than that.
From where?
Just right off the top of my head, I'd rather have Kuminga and the Warriors' future picks.
Warriors' future picks are valuable, but you are kind of betting against the You're betting against the Mavs.
Well, if you think Cooper Flagg's that guy, then you're like, okay, I'm at that point betting against 23, 24-year-old Cooper Flagg.
Yeah, true. Yeah, true. Yeah.
Plus whatever pick they get in this draft.
Unless you're giving that pick to the Bucks.
I don't think they can right now.
I think you can.
They don't have control of their 2027, so are they allowed to trade their 2026 right now? I think they might be able to on draft day.
I think that's a good point. So yeah,
I could be wrong about that.
No, I think you're right. You're giving future picks. And so the Mavs would have a rookie. They would have Cooper Flagg, and I don't know. Maybe you throw something else in there. I try to figure out a way to get the Mavs take on Kuzma's contract, and then you give him something else.
Oh, I've made one.
Give it to me.
Okay, let me find it. Here it is. Giannis and Kuzma to the Mavs.
Okay.
AD to the Warriors, because I thought in this scenario, I would the Bucks. AD to the Warriors, Klay to the Warriors, Gary Trent Jr. to the Warriors, Jimmy's contract, Kuminga and Max Christie to the Bucks with 2 picks and a swap from the Mavs and the Warriors pick.
So what are the Mavs acquiring in that?
Giannis and Kuzma, and they're giving AD, Klay, Max Christie, 2 picks and a swap. But again, I'm just like, why would the Bucks do this?
It does seem like there's going to be this bidding war, and we're going to see a lot of these teams that have just been hoarding picks and hoarding flexibility and hoarding players on decent contracts. Like, what are they going to do? Because this should have been the trade that went for Luka Doncic, right? And I think that this whole thing is kind of interesting that Giannis kind of went and did the trade request, and one of the reasons why Nico said that he traded Luka in the way that he did, in the manner that he did, without asking anybody else, putting it out there and all that. He didn't want this to happen. He didn't want the tumultuous summer, the tumultuous season where it's like it's not a secret that we're trading Luka Doncic, and he knows, and now it's going to become this whole thing. All right, well, now this is what could happen. And guess what? It happened. The player has demanded a trade. And guess what? Teams are still going to give up a ton for Giannis. And I think that's another part of my point, too, is the Mavs do have an offer they could make for Giannis. I don't think it's going to be enough. I agree with you that it's not going to be enough for the Mavs to get him. But
why doubt they even try, honestly?
But then the next question becomes, okay, so you could. Just because you could doesn't mean you should, right? That humanity has said that millions of times over the course of its history. Giannis, 19-year-old Flagg, Kyrie Irving, I don't know. I'm not seeing it.
I mean, it's one of those weird things where it's like, yeah, if it only costs what we just said, then yeah, of course.
Right. Then you're like, okay, we're not losing a ton there.
Right. Yeah. Like, I'm getting off the AD contract, and I'm like only a couple future firsts. Like, we can live with that, but that's not going to be what it costs. So,
what if John Horst is like a secret like Anthony Davis lover? He's just like, you know what?
Well, that would be great.
That's my guy.
That would be awesome.
What if Nico wasn't the only GM that thought that?
The real Nico slant is, if this happened a year ago, do we just see a Luka for Giannis swap?
Now you hurt me internally.
Like, is that just instead the trade?
They presented that, didn't they? They went
reportedly. Was that ever confirmed? It was like the Mavs trade offered 8 for another superstar. The team said no.
My understanding is that they definitely had talks with the Lakers, right? That's confirmed.
I thought it was Ant.
They had talks where they said, "Would you ever be interested in trading Ant?" And I don't even think mentioned Luka in it. And then they went to the Bucks and were like, Luka for Giannis or whatever. Like, would you ever do that kind of thing? And got told no. I mean, Giannis has won a championship with the Bucks. Like, there's so many reasons why they wouldn't want to do that. They're still trying to hold on to hope. I don't think they hadn't done the Lillard thing yet. But yeah, I mean that could have happened if Nico was still the GM and Luka was still on the Mavs, and let's say the Mavs are having a disappointing season like they are right now for whatever reason. And Nico still didn't believe in Luka. Would it just be a Luka for Giannis swap right now, plus Kuzma to make the contracts work or something?
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting to think about. And if you're a Bucks fan, I mean, that probably hurts. If it's true that was an offer last year,
right?
That you could have just had Luka moving forward versus whatever poo platter you're about to get. My more interesting thing is, I'm hopeful as an NBA fan. I want Giannis traded in the next week, and it's not because I want him off the Bucks or I want him on a bigger market. It really has nothing to do with that. It's more, if this drags out into the summer, you will see next to nothing happen in the next week.
Probably true.
Because the Heat, the Knicks, the Lakers, even any team that thinks they might even have a small shot at landing Giannis in a trade deal will just stand pat and make maybe marginal moves. Versus if the Giannis domino finally drops, and now it's like, all right, Giannis is on the Heat. Okay, now I what's my next move? How do we respond? All these other things, and you could see maybe a really interesting trade deadline.
That's the thing is now we have this domino, and we're 8 games away from, or 8 days away from the trade deadline. It's next Thursday. It's this Thursday, so a week from Thursday if you're listening to this on Thursday. So I mean.
A lot of Thursdays.
A lot of Thursdays. One of them matters. It's the next one. It's the one that's February 5th. That domino could change a lot in the NBA because I think Giannis going anywhere. I don't know if he's going to play much this season. He could come back in April, I guess. But, I mean, that changes the landscape of the NBA. Giannis is still a top 5 player for sure, maybe 4, 3, whatever. I get in trouble when I name numbers for top something of players.
Yeah, I mean, I think it also, AD, all of a sudden, if Giannis gets traded, I think that might open up AD's market a tiny bit for some of these teams that might have swung and missed.
Interesting.
Giannis goes to the Heat, and all of a sudden the Warriors are like, all right, we're not getting Giannis, and really, who's going to be the next guy? After Giannis, we don't know who that next superstar is going to be.
Coming up, let's talk about those teams. Let's talk about the teams that are going to swing and miss for Giannis. What does that mean for the Mavericks? Can they get in on any of these deals? Let's talk about that and more coming up. Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by TurboTax. Tax season doesn't just have to take over your life. This year, TurboTax make it easier than ever to just hand things off and move on with your day, with your week, with your year. With TurboTax Full Service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert, start to finish without the stress or the guesswork. You go to this show for a local expert on the Dallas Mavericks. You don't go to a national show just to try and figure out, all right, well, you go to a local expert. Same thing with TurboTax. Instead of spending hours trying to figure out forms, you can meet with a local TurboTax expert in person or connect online. Got to have that flexibility. To do that, you can upload your documents, go about your day, and get updates right in the TurboTax app. It's a huge time saver. So for a limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150 all in. If a TurboTax expert didn't file for you last year, just file by February 28th. Take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit TurboTax.com/local to book your appointment today. TurboTax.com/local.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
Thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad, listening every day. Appreciate each and every one of you for checking out the show. We have the Everydayers Club, and we have the text line. 2 ways that you can subscribe to the show and support the show, and also get ad-free episodes of the show with the Everydayers Club. You also get alerts and rumors and all kinds of things sent. If something happens with the Mavs, we hear anything, we'll send it to you right to your phone. We'll text it to you with the text line. So check the QR code. Links in the description to find that. Shout out to everybody that I talked to tonight. Just person after person. It was just like, how many of you guys got tickets to this game tonight? Shout out to Dustin, who sang the national anthem tonight. So part of the Raccoon Squad. Shout out to him. Who's supposed to do it with his school. Like he's a choir teacher. He's supposed to have his choir from his school come, and they all bailed because they didn't have school today. So he did it himself.
Nice.
Shout out to them.
Love that.
Shout out to the 2 guys who said they have my back against Slow Hoops on Twitter. Shout out to those guys.
Shout out.
All right, we're talking about the Giannis situation. He, I guess, kind of asked for a trade. It seems like he's open to a trade now. And you were talking about teams that are going to swing and miss for Giannis. So the teams that we're looking at going for Giannis right now, the Warriors, the Heat. Who are the other teams you're thinking about right now for him?
Warriors, Heat, I would say. I mean, Toronto's name, Atlanta. I think any team in the league should call. How about this sleeper one I thought about today? Charlotte?
Ooh, so we had kind of batted around like, why don't they just go for Anthony Davis? And I think the guy Sam on CBS was like, that should be the Anthony Davis team is Charlotte. Just bring him in. You can get him on the cheap. What's the package from Charlotte though?
I mean, I was kind of playing around and you could put together contracts and then a bunch of picks. I mean, I'm sure they would want Con or Brandon Miller or one of those guys, LaMelo. I mean, it doesn't really make sense for Charlotte, but if
you could just get one of those guys though.
Yeah.
If you're the Bucks. I mean, you don't have to give up much more if you're.
Yeah, that's true. And I don't know. Charlotte probably doesn't want to do that. I think if I'm the Spurs.
Why not? Right? Wait, why not? That would be the best player in their history by far. Like the best player they've ever had by like a lot.
I guess.
You know, Miles Bridges is third in scoring all time for the Hornets?
I did know that.
That just happened the other day.
Do you know Kobe White's second all time in Bulls 3-pointers?
Yeah, he just passed Kirk Heinrich, didn't he?
Did
he? Brooke Lopez is still number 1 in Nets history in scoring.
I did know that.
He's played for like 5 teams since then.
But the calculus for like Charlotte is, well, we're not going to be contending. Like that team's probably not winning a championship. You wouldn't think.
I mean, we talked about them like on this roll, and they're not even in the play-in yet. Like,
right. I mean, I even think it's kind of this weird thing because, Miami, like if the trade's Tyler Hero and Ware, whatever, is that team even good enough to win a championship?
Yeah, like Giannis,
maybe.
Bam, Norm Powell. Like, I mean, it's good enough to make the finals in the East, I think.
Yeah, so I mean, maybe. I don't know. I thought Spurs too. If I'm the Spurs and
talk yourself into it.
Like, come on, man. I get like wanting to see some of these things. I'd trade Castle for Giannis in a heartbeat.
Yeah, you're not so sold on Castle.
Well, I just think this recent stretch is just my thing with Castle that bugs me is, man, the ball's in his hands a ton.
Yeah.
Like a ton. And it's
just sticks. Okay. It sticks with him. Like every time I've watched them, he gets the ball and you're like, oh, Castle's doing something else. Oh, Castle's doing something. But it's like it just stays.
And you have Fox who's been good, and you have Harper who's kind of had his struggles but should be good. So that guard duo right there can be good enough for you.
If you're Giannis, do you think hard about staying in the East?
Yes, I'd want to stay in the East 100%.
You go to the Spurs and you're like, oh my gosh, now I have to go through Jokic, the Thunder, Lucas, Lakers. Like I got the Rockets. Like I could go through all these teams instead of just stayed in the East and go through bum Jason Tatum.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know if the Heat are like good enough, but yeah, in the East, it's just Bam and Giannis.
The package for is Tyler Hero, Ware, and like what? How many firsts do they have?
I would just say any first that they have that is available. That Rozier trade is like weirdly messed them up because one, they don't know if they can trade them, and two, that pick is still just stuck. I think that's messed up, man. That's messed up. They don't get their pick back.
Well, they employed him, so I don't know.
or at the very least, they should do some weird amendment to the rule where it's like, okay, the stipend rule is kind of off for you.
Yeah,
Stepien. I always call it the stipend rule.
It's because it looks like that's how it looks like it's spelled. The Heat have 2030 and 2032. I think they can trade. They have theirs this year, but next year their pick is actually owed to Charlotte too.
Yeah, that's for the Rozier trade.
The Rozier one, right?
Yeah. So something like that. I mean, I don't know.
So then now the idea is, okay, some of these teams like don't make it, right? Like the Hawks or the Heat, they don't make it, and now they've riled up their fans that they were thinking about getting Giannis. Is Anthony Davis a consolation prize you're interested in if you're one of these teams? I think if you're the Hawks, do you just start that up again? Like, hey, we missed out. Like, let's.
The Hawks one doesn't make any sense. And the fact that they've kind of scuffled and aren't that in like any real prime position anymore.
Yeah, right.
The Warriors would be the team where, okay, if Giannis has been traded, desperate. And now it's like, if you're the Warriors, okay, what's next? Maybe we thought we had a shot at Giannis, but now it would have to be a shocking turn of events for another star player to be available because it doesn't seem like there's any in the pipeline. So, okay, AD, fine. If it's like
especially if it's just going to be like Jimmy Butler's contract. And
well, the weird thing with that for the Mavs is that doesn't do anything for them at all. So it's like, all right, you better come with picks then.
It clears that player option, not next year, but the year after for Anthony Davis. Like it clears that, potentially gives you Jimmy Butler that could come back. But yeah, it doesn't give you a lot, but it does get you off of that contract if that's what you want.
Guys, if you were wondering, the Mavs got blown out tonight, and it was such a bore. That's why
we're not done with the show. We're not done yet.
We're 17. Well, I know because there's always people who are like, "You guys aren't talking about the game." It's like, dog, there's really nothing.
Would you like
about every game?
Listen, would you like to talk about this game?
No, I would not really.
Would you? Would you want to? Like, yeah, not you. I'm talking to everybody. I'm talking to anyone listening.
What's your hot takes from this one?
Listen, my hot take is that Max Christie is a bum.
Oh, he's done. He's washed.
He's done now. He's 46% from 3 and now 0 for 5. No, I'm just kidding.
He's washed.
All right. Well, okay.
Traded.
So we'll be watching the Giannis thing. We'll see what happens with it. We'll monitor.
Wait, have you? I'm sure you have. Have you talked about the like weird Stein report that was like Max Christie's getting a lot of trade interest?
I have talked about it, and I think it was hilarious. In Stein's report, that same report, they were like, yeah, Naji Marshall and Max Christie are getting a lot of calls about trades and all that. Naji Marshall, the Mavericks are set and firm that they only want a first-round pick, and that's the minimum for Naji Marshall. For Max Christie, they're focused on him getting the three-point contest. I was like, that sounds like sounds like they're not trading Max Christie at all.
That is really funny.
We're focused on him making the three-point contest. Like, oh, cool.
That's good. Yeah,
he didn't help their cause tonight, but
no, I mean, okay. So I saw people calling this like a Gafford showcase game, and he played pretty well. I thought actually
it was in the first 3 minutes. The first 3 minutes he had 3.
Do you believe in that?
A showcase game?
Yeah. See, I don't believe in that at all.
I don't think I believe in that but I don't know. I think I would believe anything.
Well, maybe like in the 70s when it's just like we don't have a lot of access to these
think a player can have one. I think what I watched tonight, Mavs against the Timberwolves, I think I watched a player-specific showcase game where it's like if I'm getting the ball, I'm putting the ball up, right? Like how many assists they have? 22 assists, 38 made shots. Like, that's actually not as bad as I thought of a ratio, but like there's guys just putting the ball up, right?
Yeah.
Naji, 1 assist, 2 turnovers. That ratio is not very good. I think you just had players that were just all right. We were just playing for ourselves because they just didn't have a lot of. They didn't have a lot of offensive options. They didn't have a lot of guys setting people up. You didn't have Flagg that was the head of the snake in any way. Coming up, I do want to talk about some things from this game. I want to talk about P.J. Washington, Naji Marshall, and Brandon Williams. Those guys, I think, had interesting games for them. We'll talk about that in more. Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by Rocket Money. If you are somebody that is just trying to figure out your finances, there's stuff all over the place. You got credit cards, you got savings accounts, you got student loans, you got a mortgage, maybe you got rent, you got all kinds of things you're trying to figure out. Maybe not both those things at the same time, but you can figure out and take control of your finances with Rocket Money. That's where the Rocket Money comes in. Personal finance app that helps you take control, finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. I did this about 3 or 4 years ago where I did not know what was going on. I knew that I was making it. I knew that each month I was like, all right, I'm not spending more than I'm making, but I don't have control over my finances. Put everything in Rocket Money. It like charted everything that I was doing over the last couple of years, and it showed me this is what you're spending on this is what you're spending on this, and it helped me to manage and budget everything, which was absolutely awesome with Rocket Money. So you can let Rocket Money help you reach your financial goals faster. Join rocketmoney.com/lockedon. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon to go see all the different ways that it can help you save your money. rocketmoney.com.
Shut it down! Oh, let's go home!
All right, Slightly, we're talking about the Mavs against the Timberwolves. We just talked about Giannis. I do want to talk about this game a little bit. PJ Washington, 21 points, 10 of 20 from the field, so not incredible efficiency there. 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 blocks. One a really great help block on Anthony Edwards that was really nice. But 33 minutes. We've talked about him a little bit the last couple of weeks, but not much because his game has been so up and down. He's been really bad, I think, the last couple of months. He was really good to start the season. And we kind of just been like, where's PJ? But it was kind of good to see him, all right, let's shake the rust off kind of game. And maybe it was like a self-showcase like we were talking about. He did take the most shots on the team. He was going for it. Timberwolves were giving up that middle shot, and he was like, all right, I'm going to take this floater. I'm going to go to the rim as many times as possible. I'm going to try to put up shots. But I kind of liked, in a game like this, PJ just put up 20 shots. Go out there, score 20 for the first time since December 15th. Like, just go out there and try and shake the rust off, and I think he got some of that. He saw some success, which I think can be good for a guy.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of fourth quarter stats, to be totally fair, but
sure.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we talked about this whenever we talked about him last time. I really think that ankle injury just derailed his entire season, weirdly enough, because we were calling him MJ Washington, and then
he was playing real good.
Yeah, and then it just kind of he rolled his ankle on that basketball. Just another kind of curse moment that I think gets forgotten, that PJ Washington injured himself stepping on a basketball during a pregame shoot-around. So, yeah, I mean, just...
When does that ever happen in the NBA? Like, have you ever heard of
that? That happened on a pregame shoot-around, didn't it?
Yes. Yeah,
remember KD? Remember KD? It was supposed to be his first game for the Suns in Phoenix. He twisted his ankle in a pregame warm-up and had to miss a couple weeks.
And that team was cursed, and now maybe this one.
Yeah, that was a sign.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, but... Yeah, I mean, with PJ, it's been the ankle injury, like you said. He was out for personal reasons recently. Like, there's been reports about his personal life out there. Like, who knows what he's going through, right? But you can just tell that there's something that he's been dealing with that has affected his play, and maybe it's just the landscape of the team too. Guys have been in and out. He doesn't have point guard anymore. Doesn't have Luka anymore. That's a change that we talked about with Gafford. It could affect PJ too. Like the way that this team was constructed is completely changed. Since all that, his fit with Cooper Flagg has not been super clean either. We haven't really seen that a ton. PJ's shot has not been as good from 3 this season. But yeah, I thought PJ, interesting game. Good to see him go out there and get 20. His team needed somebody to go out there and put up buckets, and he did.
Yeah, I mean, let's see if this gets him into a groove, because that would be nice just for the remainder of the season.
Yeah, build that confidence, get those shots up. Speaking of getting shots up, Naji Marshall, 18 points, 7 of 14 from the field, 4 of 5 from the free throw line, 1 assist, 2 turnovers. Naji Marshall has, he's a role player that gets his own shot. We've talked about it, him driving into the rim, getting his floater off, the floater that nobody can understand. He doesn't want anybody to understand it. The next thing for Naji Marshall is get that ball out, like pass to kick out to somebody, pass to somebody else. 1 assist to 2 turnovers. I keep bringing it up because that is weird for a guy that has the ball that often. And that just shows to me like he's like they got the blinders on, just going one track mind, going to the rim, which is good. Like, it's fine. But if you want to take the next step as a player, I think you gotta kick the ball out a little bit, pass the ball around a little bit more. And for Naji, I think that's his next step.
Yeah, and I mean it kind of boils down to what you were just talking about. It just seemed like this team just didn't move the ball really at all tonight in any way, shape, or form. And we talked about during their little stretch where they were playing better was the amount of threes that they were getting up.
Right.
Only 18 tonight. They made 3 of them. So, God, it feels like they've had a lot of games where they've gone literally 3 of 18 specifically.
Yeah.
Or at least 3 threes.
Can't be the only time.
Yeah. So, I mean, anytime they have a game where they make 3 threes or 4 threes, it's like you're not going to win an NBA game like that. That goes without being said. So, yeah, I mean, it's when Naji's acting as this, they're not really playing anybody who resembles a point guard at all. Like, we've reached this point, right? Nimby got, 9 minutes tonight. So, Nimby's minutes have just been, we're looking at 10 minutes if he plays, 10 minutes, 11 minutes.
And I had a listener, a Raccoon Squad listener, come up to me today and be like, why is Nembhard's minutes going down? And I'm like, well, he checks in the second quarter, immediately 2 turnovers, like almost back-to-back possessions where he turns the ball over. And you're like, maybe that's because his minutes have been going up and down. He doesn't have a rhythm. Maybe he's the nerves. I think the nerves of a guy where your minutes are getting reduced. You were playing this bigger role, and you're like, oh, great, like I have all this time. And then your minutes get reduced, so every possession feels so precious, like so much bigger. And then that can mess up guys, especially a guy like Nembhard who's used to having the ball all the time in college, like led college in assists. I mean, you have the ball all the time if you're him. And so this is just a new version of basketball. He hasn't really played. Maybe a rookie wall too. Like who knows with that? But yeah, I mean, it goes back to the whole like D'Angelo Russell conversation too. It's like, all right, you're not going to play D'Angelo Russell, who was also, by the way, in the intro video for the Mavs retro night, which I found really funny.
Nice.
He's not playing at all. Nembhard's minutes are going down, and Brandon Williams is not starting. He's playing only 23 minutes. So you're like, what are they doing at point guard? They're not. They're playing Naji at point guard, basically.
I'm loving the idea because these fans definitely exist. The ones who will go to a handful of games a night or a season and not really check in with the team until they go to the game. And they're seeing the intro video. They're like, D'Angelo Russell's on this team? Was he
Do you
hurt
think those
tonight?
fans know who D'Angelo Russell is?
Maybe.
Or do they go, player. Wasn't that the guy that snitched on Swaggy P? Sorry, D-Lo. Sorry to bring that up again.
I definitely would say I have friends, like real life friends, who are like, I know D'Angelo Russell, and I know he's on the Mavs, but I wouldn't be able to tell you that he's just straight up getting DNPs right now.
Yeah.
I would just assume he plays.
Yeah. They show up and they're like, man, I had the over on D'Angelo Russell points. What was it? 3? Was it 3?
Yeah, it was a free play, half a point. No, that's not a free play. That's just his line every night.
Speaking of Brandon Williams, 17 points, 4 of 10 from the field, 8 of 12 from the free throw line.
Love that. Well, not the 8 of 12 part, but
a unique game. How many players do you think have had 17 or less points in a game and 12 or more free throws in a game this season?
God, I don't know. None.
7. He's the 8th. He's the 8th player. This list is insane.
Is it a bunch of rookie or centers?
No. Cam Thomas did it in October. 15 points, 13 free throws. Our old buddy Porzingis did it he did it on the Hawks. 15 points, 13 free throw attempts. Trey Jones on the Bulls. Anthony Black on the Magic. Chet Holmgren on the Thunder did it against the Spurs in one of those losses they had. CD Sissoko did it against the Blazers, and then Julius Randle did it like a week ago. Weird list. List.
Great company.
What is Brandon
CD
Williams
Sissoko.
at this point? To me, I felt his game was honorable because he went out there and he was like, I'm going to scrape together any buckets I can get. Like I'm just going out there. It's just me versus the world. I'm going to try and get into the lane. I'm going to go at Rudy Gobert. I'm going to go get fouled and get 8 free throw attempts in the first quarter. I'm going to go try anything I can to get buckets. He's like a guy you want playing with you on if you want to keep the court playing pickup. But I just don't know what he is in the NBA, man. Because one three attempted, and we know he's shooting 19% from 3 this season.
Yeah, I mean he is who he is. He's small, very quick, very crafty guard who can get to the paint whenever he wants. Really, but yeah, not like an uber. Not a fantastic playmaker like I think you'd probably want him to be, right? Just because the size and everything. You'd want him to be like your pseudo point guard whenever he's on the floor. Just because in the modern NBA, if you have a player his size, you have to have a bunch of bigger guys surrounding him. Or a 3. So the lack of those 2 things just limits him and puts a ceiling on him. There was a text in one of our group texts. It was like, basically, what would Brandon Williams get in the open market contract-wise? And I think the consensus was like probably nothing big.
I mean, a minimum, right?
Oh, for sure. Like I think a team would pick him up, but I mean nothing beyond probably the mid-level, the taxpayer mid-level would be my guess, if that.
Isn't the one D'Lo got?
That one was like what was that? I mean, Naji's making $8 million. Isn't that the non-tax? Well, actually, I don't know.
No, you're thinking of the biannual exception. That's the one like
Yeah.
Seth Curry got a couple years ago from the Mavs.
Yeah, like $5 million.
I mean, I don't think so. I think he's a minimum guard in the NBA.
Minimum.
He's a smaller guard, doesn't shoot the three, and isn't like a playmaker. You're like, okay, well, quick first step, great. Like what? I don't know what that's getting me. He's not playing I don't know if he's playing in a playoff rotation with that 3-point shot like that.
Yeah, the three ball not being there really hurts. Like if
that just limits your market everywhere.
If last year was his step where he's okay, I'm gonna be around a 40% 3-point shooter now, or even just like respectable, right? Then that definitely would have changed his career trajectory. But yeah, you said he's 19% now.
Yeah,
19% for
tonight.
Small
It probably
guard.
went up after going 1 of 1.
Yeah, it did probably go up. We might be at 20 now, so 20% is.
I don't know if it went up a whole percentage point.
Well, that's the thing too, is it might have because he's just not a high volume 3-point shooter.
19.8. He's at 19.8 now.
All right, nice.
Almost.
Nice.
If you round up, we got to 20%. But that's just like that's worse than everybody you think is a bad 3-point shooter.
We're also halfway through the season at this point, so it's
He's played 41 games.
right. We're beyond kind of like just a little rough shooting slump, and we kind of talked about this with him where it's the last year was a complete and total anomaly in his career. Now at this point, it was the only year that he was even above 30.
Shooting.
Only year he was even above 30%.
He's 20 of 101 threes right now.
And to be fair, he's played 40 games, and heading into the season, he's played a career 70. So like, there's not like a huge sample to fall back on for him in the NBA.
Yeah, but the other thing is he's 26. I think.
Yeah.
Is he almost 27?
Well, I just thought it sparked an interesting conversation because I think the question was like asked originally is like he'd get a lot of money, right? Like some team would probably pay him.
I don't know if I agree with that. Sorry, Brandon.
Yeah. Was that who asked it?
Brandon Williams. Was he in our group text?
Yeah, I was thinking of the other Brandon.
He was in our Brandon Williams. Guys, how much do you think I can get in the open market?
Hey, sorry,
Can you
bro.
Imagine.
Sorry, man. If I were a GM,
Hey, sorry. This isn't Rich
cutthroat-
Paul's podcast. This isn't Rich Paul's podcast. We don't have decisions like that. Go check out Slightly Biased YouTube channel. Great stuff happening all the time. I'll have another show on this feed whenever you're listening and watching this. You can go find that. And also, we'll be back tomorrow. Flagg, Con Knipple, Mark Acquires, jersey retirement game. We'll talk about that and more tomorrow. Check the QR code, links in the description
Hornets.
for different ways to subscribe to the show, including the Everydayers Club. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked on Mavs. Peace out. Boom.
Rookie of the Year battle.